Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you. We'll get going here in just a few minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Just a few pieces of information relating to the Abby and Libby case out of Delphi. Honestly, I need your help understanding what the hell is going on here. And to be honest, I'm all over the place with this morning. I'm not quite sure where I want to start. maybe we will start right here. Let me pull up this calendar I kind of put together this morning, and I will share it with you on the screen. Haven't really had much time to put it all together, so might be a little ski-wampus. Let's pull this over here so I can look at that as well. Okay. I think that might be a good place. All right. Good to see you, Jippo, Cindy, Chopper. How are you? Audra, Shane, Solar Chef Steph. What up? Sandy, little one, Molly. Shane says trying to play with the letters of Gibbo but can't. Or Chibbo can't. Kiwi, how are you? She Warrior. Good to see you. Molly, Phony Pin, Kiwi, Saska, how are you? Blind Squirrel, what's up? Brett Decker, wife Lilith, how you doing? Teresa and Peace Train. Okay, guys, you're going to need to help me understand how a seasoned professional like Dan Doolin, regardless of a lost tip or not, does not come to any type of realization or conclusion, or Richard Allen never pops into his head. How you got to explain to me how that's possible. How a man is standing on stage February 22nd doing a press conference after speaking to a man who said he was at the trails when the girls went missing. And out of everybody that's been talked about, mentioned, everybody doing their sleuthing, the actual investigation itself, nobody talks about Richard Allen. You have to help me to understand that. And we learned on one of the most recent releases of the PCA, one of the most unredacted versions. We read this on September 21st, 2022. Detective Liggett was provided a tip narrative. It was from DNR Lieutenant Dan Doolin. Okay, so let's go to this map here, or this calendar. Okay, so he's handed a tip September 21st, right? Smack dab in the middle of the Wabash River search. Exactly 1 week from that tip narrative being provided. We're not talking a week and a day. We're not talking a day short of a week. Exactly 1 week later, on the 28th, they're done searching the Wabash. Right? And almost exactly 2 weeks from that point in time, they're serving a search warrant and they're interviewing Richard Allen and his wife. Now, you're trying to tell me that these are not connected at all? If they're not, this is just going to blow my mind. You say that you guys don't, there's a lot of you out there who have stated multiple times that you don't believe in coincidences. Well, what the hell would you call this? Question: served a search warrant on the 13th. His vehicle and items from his home are seized, including crucial pieces of evidence that the defense has been trying their best to get thrown out, specifically the gun. And then on the 21st, we find out that he's been arrested. Why? Because it takes a little while for them to get their analysis. Please help me to understand how a man like Dan Doolin, he's not some rookie. He was the big shot, the top conservation officer. He was running the investigations there. When the 4-year-old went missing, he was in charge of that investigation. When there was multiple arrests made for drug charges, he was in charge of that investigation. I need help, guys. I need help understanding how it's possible that this man, a seasoned professional, overlooks something like that. I just can't see it. I can't wrap my mind around it. I'm struggling. Good to see you, Karen. Christine. Brett. Frank Meister. Salty Sleuth. Pipers. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I've done enough of my homework to know that coincidences happen all the time. There's people who have spent an eternity in prison only to be freed later, being charged because of a coincidence. Come to find out it was their brother or their doppelganger, for that matter. Molly says, I think the river search had everything to do with finding info they needed to prove Richard Allen is the bridge guy. And I don't believe they didn't find anything. I said this in a live last night. Something's afoot. Okay, so how did they find Richard Allen? Was it Keegan Klein that helped them with information? Or was it this lost tip? Okay. Now they started searching that river on the 19th of August. August 19th. You want to see another coincidence? State of Indiana versus Keegan Klein. Notice of exclusion of confidential information from public access. Filed August 19th, 2022. So why is Keegan Klein meeting with Nick McClelland and the investigative team to discuss Delphi the day that the Wabash River search begins? Please help me understand all of this. How does this make sense? Let's read this here. Peter Dietrich and moves the court to seal the agreed order of the party submitted with this motion, as the release of this information would severely hinder the efforts of law enforcement officers in the course of an investigation. Why? Comes now the court and being duly advised finds and orders the motion to seal should and hereby is granted. The motion to seal submitted 8/19/2022. Temporarily place the defendant in the above captioned cause into the secure custody of Indiana State Police, and that upon the conclusion of said temporary custody that the defendant be returned to the custody of Miami County Jail. Okay, so the day that the search starts, they take this man into custody to discuss the Delphi case. They searched that river for 5 weeks. On the 21st, remember, the search didn't conclude until the 28th. But on the 21st, we're supposed to believe that they handed a lost tip narrative. Well, how did they find that tip? Well, if you read the probable cause affidavit, they want us to believe that they were going through old information. They were starting at the beginning. Okay, and I get that. But why is the search concluded exactly 1 week later? What else were you looking for? And why are you still searching if you have this lost tip? Why are you spending an entire week out here when you just broke the case wide open? Please explain that to me. And then why are you searching a man's home exactly 2 weeks later? The exact amount of time you would need to do digital forensics on a phone or a SIM card, which is about 2 weeks. Are they searching Richard Allen's home? So I do believe they found a lost tip narrative, but how? Did they get help from Keegan Klein? I mean, this just doesn't make any sense at all. What other cop? Kiwi. Wasn't he only brought in to interview people, even that he said he would have known to point it out? What do you mean? Hey, Daisy. Not to mention the presser. He's in coma or something. It's crazy stuff. I just don't understand. You are a seasoned professional. You are the top dog, number one at what you're doing. You're in charge of anything that happens in your sector. You're the man. And you tell me that this man comes forward to you, and then the next day they release Libby's video, and you can't put two and two together? Please, you guys have to help me understand this. So let's take a look at an old article here. ISP, this is from my teammate. ISP search of Wabash River concludes right here, September 28th. Police not saying if anything was found. Why not? You know? And why are you still searching for an entire week after you found what you were basically looking for? The 5-week search of the Wabash River in Miami County is over. The big question still looms. Is it connected to the murders of Abby and Libby? Indiana State Police confirmed to I-Team 8's Richard Essex that police have concluded their search of the Wabash River in Peru. State police would not confirm what they were searching for or what they may have found. And why not? The search appears connected to Keegan Klein, the suspect in the Anthony Shots child porn case that's also connected to the Delphi murders. The search began August 19th, the exact same day that they took Keegan Klein over to the Grissom Air Force Base. Kegan said he spoke to the guys. What do you mean you spoke to the guys? What are you, a team member now? The same day, a court allowed state police to take custody of Kline under a sealed order. Obviously, Indiana State Police did not go on record saying that, but we had sources who did tell us that it was Delphi related. That comes from the murder sheet. The search of the Wabash River in Peru started near the Nickel Plate Trail Bridge and extended west past the US 31 bridge. If you find something there, or even if you don't find something there, you want to potentially be able for it to stand up in court and say we did everything right. The lion's share of the search was conducted by hand, although IT-Mate did see a few people with metal detectors under the bridge, saw a pile of metal and other objects collected by the team. We feel the Indiana State Police, not just in the terms of this water search, but throughout the whole Delphi investigation, have poured almost unlimited amounts of resources into the case. And one of the things that got us interested in the case is we believe that Indiana State Police, like any other governmental agency, needs to be held accountable. That's from the murder sheet. Kline's father lives just a short distance from the bridge. IT-Mate stopped by his house recently to ask him if he knew anything about the search and why state police temporary custody of his son from Miami County Jail. The elder, Mr. Kline, didn't come to the door. In 2 August court filings, Kline's attorney said his client was exploring other legal options and negotiating with the prosecutor. Negotiating with the prosecutor about what? I don't know. How, Kiwi? If he's a waste of time, why are they taking him into custody and shortly after they have Richard Allen? Hey, Cindy. BD, welcome in. If it's a bunch of lies, no need for what he said to be sealed. Exactly. And why are you wasting all of these resources to take him out of custody and all, why are you doing all of this? He said he gave info with some wrong info because he wasn't going to implicate himself. So it wasn't the Jeep if it happened. And we have learned that these criminals, they give 25% of the truth, 50% of the truth, and then finally they end with 75% of the truth, leaving all the stuff that makes them look the worst. The parts that make them look bad. And I understand that Daisy investigating all angles, but I mean, why the coincidence? It would make more sense if they concluded the Wabash search and then a month or two later, okay, we found this lost tip narrative. How are you spending all of these resources and time searching that river and you're looking at looking for a lost tip or lost information? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's as if they found something and they were still looking for another item. And it's as if they began testing something, and whatever it was, it took 2 weeks to get their answers. And this is the narrative that they've been feeding to the public. Someone mislabeled or misfiled tip information in the system. FBI says it wasn't them, which means it didn't show up in the correct location during a data search. What the hell does that mean? The FBI says its review of the matter showed that FBI employees correctly followed established procedure. Overlooked due to a clerical error. Fuck the clerical error. How does Dan Doolin not come up and say, hey, what's going on with this Richard Allen guy? He came to me and told me he was there the exact same time the girls went missing. Yeah, and I understand this was before they had Libby's video or they put out those photographs, those screenshots from the video. Okay, you interview him on the 14th or early on the 15th, later the day on the 15th, and heavily on the 16th. You're being flooded, inundated with video and photographs all over the media. I mean, this thing is blowing up all over the world. And you're telling me that this seasoned professional, this veteran investigator, this top dog isn't coming forward and saying, hey, what are we doing about Richard Allen? I need help, guys. I need help understanding that. Makes no sense to me. Yeah, that's true, Shane. Salty Sleuth says, I don't buy it. I don't know what to make of it. I'm extremely confused by this. You have this man standing up on the stage on February 22nd. They're pleading with the public, help us find this man. Here's a photograph of him. He was on the bridge. And you're telling me the entire time Dan Doolin's not like, wow, that kind of looks like the guy I spoke with. They knew it was a guy who had something over his head and his face covered. I would like to see the list of men who were there at the exact same time that the girls went missing. How long is that list? 2 or 3 people? One being Richard Allen? I'm not buying it. I just can't. It's a hard pill to swallow. Yeah, and what does that mean, BD? Is there any truth to that? Yeah, I don't buy it either. Hey, what's up, Brad? From outside of the grid. Yeah, it blows my mind. Doesn't make any sense to me. And this is what they tell us in the probable cause affidavit. Investigators reviewed prior tips, encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen. And notice they don't put Doolin's name in here. I feel like, why are they trying to protect him? Who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. Welcome in the crime sleepers. Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to, Kiwi. Not sure, Molly. I think I know what you're referring to. It still doesn't make sense to me. I mean, how do you explain that? I cannot wrap my head around it. I used to give him the benefit of the doubt, like, hey, 2020's hindsight, but it just absolutely doesn't make any sense. Salty Sleuth says if it's true and they found the tip 5 years later, that means it was a bad investigation and the town put through hell for 5 years over a lost tip. Yeah, is that what they're hiding? Is that why they wanted the probable cause affidavit sealed? What's up, Coco? Welcome in. Hey, Red Queen, how you doing? Hope you're feeling better today. You hang in there. There's some things that don't make sense, Pipers, and then there's some things that I can't even wrap my mind around. There's some things that just don't quite click, or puzzle pieces that you got to kind of bang on a little bit to make them fit. This is just like a puzzle piece to from another planet, let alone another puzzle. So we know Keegan said about Wabash and his dad. Did Dan Doolin remember, oh, I interviewed a guy from up the road? Makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. You're telling me that a list of 3 people, you ignore the one out of the 3? How many people matching the description of the bridge guy were there at that time between 1:40 and 2:15? There was less than a handful from what we know. And you didn't serve a search warrant on this guy. You didn't do anything. You didn't even bring him back in for a secondary interview. And we don't even know if you recorded the original interview. But who cares about all of that? How do you not, standing up there during the presser, begging the public for information, how do you, Dan Doolin, looking at those photographs, knowing that you spoke to Richard Allen, how the hell are you not all over this? Somebody please help me make this make sense. Appreciate that. Welcome in, B. Landon. My theory is the girls were going to meet Anthony Schatz, aka Kline. He backed out, but unfortunately, Richard Allen was there that day. Well, Richard Allen was there that day, walking with purpose, overdressed, covering his face, head down, buried into his phone, admittedly. Says he was wearing a blue Carhartt jacket. The girl said it was a duck canvas type Carhartt jacket and that he wasn't very tall with the stocky build. I mean, they're describing Richard Allen, right? Look, not very tall with a larger build. He looks like he's about 5'4" with broad shoulders. He's not a skinny guy. He's not a skinny, petite little man. He's a little man with broad shoulders, just as the witnesses described him to be. The man that you interviewed, Mr. Doolin. You put on a hat and a hoodie. That's going to give him an inch or two, some boots. He's going to appear to be about 5'7", 5'8" to those young witnesses. Hey, what's up, Don Spain? Are you in Paris, my friend? You be safe out there, dude. And you might have some stalkers. We put you all over the screen yesterday. So you might be getting stalked here. Jibbo says, genuinely think they were on to Allen. That's the only explanation. Unless Dan Doolin is like part of this crime. The only other thing that makes sense is that they knew about Richard Allen. I just cannot. It doesn't make any sense, guys. Oh, yeah, Mr. Doolin, I was there. I was there right around that time that they went missing, but I didn't see them. I saw those other girls. I was there. I saw everything that was going on. But when I went to the bridge shortly before they got there, I was even on the bridge. I didn't see anything. Now, let me know if you have any further questions. The very next day, they're looking at Libby's video. And you have what appears to be a short, stocky man on the bridge with skinny little chicken legs and broad shoulders. It's not clicking. WTF. That's all I can say. Hey, what's up, Tinfoil Hat Club? He is a nasty motherfucker. Pile of dung. I will think he's giving info for protection because he's afraid of other inmates. Well, he's already in seg. He's already as protected as he's ever going to be. Being the chomo that he is. Sleuth, I also remember they brought in a bunch of heavy equipment and were taking out trees and brush in a large section along the river. Well, I think they testified in court it was over $1 million spent. It's a big deal. Who caused the error? Doolin should have known and remembered Allen's statement. 100%. And we're not talking months and years down the road. Libby's video was available to the investigation team within one day. They had screenshots out to the public. Remember, they had the two. One even had an elbow sticking out in it. How is that man who interviewed Richard Allen standing on that stage looking at those photos, pleading for answers? How does that not click? Lola says, even if they looked for Richard Allen, Whiteman, pretty damn sure Richard M. Allen of Delphi would have popped up for law enforcement. Exactly. Not only would his name pop up, but the address would have popped up. Richard Allen on Whiteman Drive. Lola says it's a lie, the lost tip. Makes no sense to me. There's no justification. What do you mean, Kiwi? You keep talking about this other cop. Can you put it in context? Give us some more information about it. Are you talking about the other conservation officer that was stated to be the one that that Richard Allen spoke to, but was wrong? They were wrong about him. Yeah, I think that's a non-issue. Shane says exactly, Sleuth. Someone was saying last night Richard Allen knew Doolin. He purposely went to him. I never heard that before last night. Well, the thing is, if Richard Allen knew Dan Doolin, then they should be able to prove it. So if they're going to go around saying that, they need to show how they know that. Or just say, hey, I heard a rumor, you know? Saska says, Richard Allen, did he file his name wrong? Yeah, and even if he did, if he on the lost tip, it says Richard Allen Whiteman, and they're stating that it was misfiled. Not that he lied or falsified information. But either way, they should have found it. And forget the tip. We're talking about a seasoned professional here. Or a small black SUV type vehicle, Molly. Arrow, welcome in. It's a short list, Arrow. It can't be more than 5 men from the ages of 18 to 40 in that age range. And I'm sure any men from the age 16 and up will be on that list. Each one of those men should have had a search warrant served on them. Why not Richard Allen? Please, if there's an explanation, I want to hear it from you guys. I'm open to hearing it. I'm open to your suggestions. Daisy says DD didn't do the data entry of the tip. It's my understanding he handed the information over to somebody who works for the FBI who was helping to, enter the information into the Orion system. Not an agent per se. The lost tip and finger pointing at FBI has a pay no attention to the man behind the curtain quality to it. Very strange. Here, let's read the FBI's response to all of this. They said, as stated in the past, this is a complex multi-agency investigation. The implication that an alleged clerical error by an FBI employee caused years of delay in identifying this defendant is misleading. Our review of the matter shows FBI employees followed established procedures. Sources indicate during the early days of the investigation, dozens of law enforcement personnel and volunteers answered a tip line and sifted through the first of more than 72,000 tips that were gradually received in the case. There is no indication at this time of how such a substantial tip regarding a middle-aged man in clothes matching those of the killer, admittedly walking on the Monon High Bridge that day, did not receive heightened attention or further inquiry for more than 5 years. On October 13th, the day investigators raided his home, Allen told detectives that he recalled being on the trails leading to the bridge that day of the killings and was there to watch the fish. A witness told police she spotted a man wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Blows my mind. Described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing like blue jeans and like really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown. Richard Allen. And he did not really show his face. Why? Was it pre-planned? She advised the jacket was duck canvas type jacket. Advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. And why does he have his mouth covered? That doesn't sound like an opportunistic killer to me, guys. An opportunistic killer, he doesn't care. He's not there to kill. That's not what an opportunistic killer is. He's somebody that's going about his business and feels a compulsion. He's compelled to do something. And it's that same compulsion that is written all over the crime, the victimology, and the staging of the scene. It's something that they absolutely cannot help. And that's how they get busted. She described him as not very tall, with a bigger build. Right? And we just looked at that photo of Richard Allen. He's not very tall. Not only is he not very tall, he's a short guy. He was not bigger than 5'10". That sounds about right. You put on boots, a hat, and put a hoodie over that hat, you're right about 5'8" at that point. You know, that'll probably give you another 3 or 4 inches. Especially if you're trying to recall what you saw that day. And here's another interesting thing I wanted to bring up to you guys here. So this is the duck canvas Carhartt jacket. Now notice this emblem here. Now to me, it always looked more like a windbreaker, and Richard Allen owns a windbreaker. But I want to show you a video that I did probably about 5 months before Richard Allen was arrested. And you guys know me analyzing Libby's video obsessively. Let me show you the date first, and then I'll show you the video that I made. Okay. Title of my video, Delphi Murders. If you know something, say something. And I provided what I thought was my best opinion after spending years looking at Libby's video, trying to figure out what the hell we were looking at. I put this out June 6th, 2022. And here is the video.
Sleuth.
What's up, Carrie? All right, guys, notice the jacket that I put on him. This is before we ever knew about the blue Carhartt jacket or anything. Look at the description that I provided. The exact duck canvas Carhartt jacket he stated that he was wearing that day. This is before we knew that I knew who Richard Allen was, before he was ever named a suspect. He wasn't arrested until October of that year. This is well ahead of that. So I thought that that was very interesting. Detective Liggett believes the information gathered from witnesses, video evidence, and admissions by Richard M. Allen is reliable. Richard M. Allen places himself at the trails and specifically on the Monon High Bridge. He further admits that he is wearing jeans and a dark Carhartt jacket. The clothes match the clothes by the individual on the bridge in the photo taken from the video from Liberty German's phone. Detective Liggett was also able to corroborate the information that Richard M. Allen was at the trails near the time that Liberty German and Abigail Williams. The picture of the individual on the bridge was captured by investigators from the video taken on Liberty German's phone, not from Liberty German's phone, taken on just prior to her and Abigail Williams being abducted. Lola says, I've heard Ruckus say Skinner. Yeah, that's his name. The other conservation officer who was falsely accused of being the one they were referring to. I think they just kind of found all the conservation officers working in the area. They closed their eyes and picked one. Yeah, you might be right, TJ. Carrie, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Alex, I appreciate it. Shout out to England. I told you guys we're everywhere. Thank you for sponsoring today's live stream. Yeah, Lilith, they're doing whatever they can for their client. Yeah, I think you have to be a certain kind of person to be a defense attorney. That's just my opinion. Not saying they're bad or good. I'm just saying you have to be a certain type. Shane says, I have a funny feeling he was cleared or had an alibi. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The only way he's going to be cleared, and he obviously doesn't have an alibi. If he's telling Doolin, like, hey, yeah, I was there when the girls went missing, but I didn't see him. I'll tell you what I did see. So right there, he has no alibi. And the only way to clear him, right, would be to serve the search warrant. They should have had his gun tested along with Maxwell, with the Webbers, and the other dozens of search warrants. Hey, what's up, Goat Dog? I think Richard Allen and the game warden were friends, whether from the bar, high school, and he just couldn't possibly believe that he was capable of it. That's why no follow-up. I mean, that's an interesting theory, but where's the evidence of that? Are they the same age? Did they go to the same school? Have they been photographed together? Do they have any connections whatsoever? You know, that's a huge deal. That's potentially a crime. That's sounds like an obstruction charge to me. Yeah, Kiwi. It's possible. Why blame the FBI if they were already investigating Richard Allen, though? Exactly. Why would they blame the FBI? I'm just trying to make sense of it. And why wasn't the FBI present during Richard Allen's press conference? They had the U.S. Marshals, and I believe the reason they had the U.S. Marshals is because they were looking for others or wanting to make it appear as if they were. You know, you have the FBI because you're trying to bring the investigation over state lines. That's the whole reason you bring them in, not to mention some of their resources, right? But the main reason is because your investigation is going into other states. So why kick them out at the last minute? What's up, JL? You be safe, Don. Can't wait to hear about your travels, man. Sounds awesome. Rep that crew. Lola says, I think 3 people have dirty hands and no Odinist. The attorney said Rick didn't even know about Odinism until we told him. Well, guess his life in Delphi, and I never ran into a single Odinist himself. Well, it's my understanding he's the one that told them about the Odinism. Remember, he told them that the guards were threatening to kill him and his family if he talks, and that they have Odin tattoos. And that's when the can of worms was opened. That's the way I saw it. JL says, makes me wonder what's laying at the bottom of Deer Creek, or what was. You know, there's stories of bodies floating down the river that have never been recovered. Had a 4-year-old boy that vanished, swept away. I don't know, Kiwi. I don't know about the cops, but something's going on with Doolin. I mean, I can't figure it out. I don't want to accuse the man, but I mean, what WTF with an exclamation? What the F? What's going on, Goat Dog? Richard Allen knew that he was taking a huge gamble by self admitting he was there. But if he told his friends wasn't going to turn him in. And he was right. I haven't seen any evidence that Doolin was his friend. It would make sense. But I mean, you would have to be like best friends, like brothers. Like if I just went to school with you, like why would I be risking my freedom to cover this up for you, knowing what you've done? That's a good question, Molly. I tried to look it up. He's been working there for quite some time. Like he's the top dog. He's the conservation officer. And another strange thing is if it wasn't found, if the girls weren't found on Ron Logan's property, I have a feeling that he would be the lead in the investigation. Thank you, according to excuse me. I still have frogs in my throat. According to Lene, thank you so much. I think we will be blown away at the evidence when we finally get to trial. I mean, I'm already blown away. "Oh, we have to keep this sealed because of, others may be involved. Can't jeopardize our investigation." Okay, we'll wait 3 months, and then once the probable cause affidavit is unsealed, okay, where's this information that leads to other actors? All I see here is Dan Doolin dropping the ball or hiding information, obstructing justice. That's all I'm seeing in this probable cause affidavit. I'm not seeing anything else that points to any other actors. Nothing that points to Odinism, Ron Logan, or even Keegan Klein. All I see here is you trying to protect Dan Doolin by not mentioning his name, and that all of a sudden you magically found this lost tip. And then you blame the FBI. And now they're not invited to the presser after everything that they've done. They were there from day one. Crazy. That's pretty much all I have, guys. So we'll catch up on the chat and we'll go through some of these photos, some of my work that I did on the video. And then you guys can tell me if that's what you're looking at as a Carhartt jacket. Duck canvas at that. So let me pull that up first. Right? Before we even knew about a Carhartt jacket, before we knew anything. This is the jacket that I identified in the video. This is the best fit that I could come up with. Now, the colors might not match, but you got to remember they did a lot of editing. But if this is a Carhartt jacket, we should expect there to be a logo in this area. And I don't know if that's what we're looking at there or here. Kiwi says, Sleuth, maybe there were dirty cops working with the ring. Maybe they knew the hit was going to happen. I haven't seen any evidence of a hit or a ring. All I'm seeing evidence of is obstruction of justice. But why? What's the motive for that? And I just can't wrap my head that this guy that they've put in charge, the head conservation officer, the lead investigator in all these other cases that were successful, huge drug busts, missing persons. You know, we got this man who's in charge of all this equipment, communicating with other agencies, agency task force, forces to help. Welcome in the fourth eye of Raw. It was a private citizen who properly enhanced the video frames, not NASA, Disney, or the FBI. How do you know that? And who was this citizen? Didn't the FBI get the blame for losing the gas station footage too? Yes, they did. Wait, if Doolin got Rick's phone info in that tip, then he had to have met Rick in person to see it. Unless Rick himself provided that info over the phone, then we know why law enforcement is looking for a phone. Yeah, and they're very focused on that phone. They're extremely focused on it. And now we know Richard Allen says, yeah, I was on a phone. A burner phone? It shows the unique murder weapon amongst other things. Okay, who is this person and where's the official document that police are using it? If you know, you have to be able to show it to us. And that way we can share it. Molly Sleuth, when was it that Libby was very frightened by something and texting a male friend pleading for help? Well, that friend was Max, and I believe it was a few weeks prior to the murders. And we know that she also reset her phone 10 days before the crime. It was very close to the date, to the 13th. Hey, what's up, Captain? Good to see you. Sorry about that, Olivia. This is kind of an impromptu. We're going live later on today, too, on a completely separate case. Shantae Blankenship. That one's going to focus mainly on psychopathy. What's up, Fig? Good to see you. Venus, welcome. Enough what? Enough with the exclamation or with a period? Ha! How's Auntie Gall? What a dirty rumor. Who would start a rumor like that? Probably a very handsome man, I'm sure. Mustang, how you doing? I think he planned it before going to the trails. He obviously had shit in his jacket. I mean, the girls didn't even want to take their jackets. Yet this guy wants to bring 4. Like, what the hell? They said he had a head covering, which looks like a cap right here, right? You can kind of see the bill. And then you can kind of see Richard Allen's beady eyes. Like he has these huge eyes. Dark eyes. And that fat nose. But where is the Carhartt logo? Is this it here? Is that what we're looking at right here? You have to make an exception for Mustang. Hey, Mind of Monsters. Have a good day at work. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you. Daisy, too many bad tips, too much law enforcement staff involved, COVID. Just a few of the issues in this case that contributed to the delay in the arrest. Apparently, the only thing that contributed to any delay was Dan Doolin and a lost tip narrative. It wasn't Keegan Klein, apparently, had nothing to do with the search, right? Even though we've laid out how many coincidences, but had nothing to do with him. But had everything to do with Dan Doolin not doing what he was supposed to do that day. Bismo, welcome. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Bismo. Hang in there. Does anyone know which county jail Richard Allen is at now? I think he's in Cass. He's not showing up anywhere that I can see. I think he's in Cass. That's interesting. All right, I'm going to zip on down here. Welcome in, Andy. Well, Keegan Klein said they were supposed to meet at the bridge. Well, technically, it wasn't Keegan Klein, it was Anthony Schatz. And that kind of goes into the phonetics stuff. Right? The sender specifically identified the receiver as Kegan. So that means he knows who he is personally and didn't refer to him as Anthony Schatz. 27 images were geolocated in Indiana cities, including Bunker Hill, Galveston, Indianapolis, Kokomo, Monterey, and Royal Center. Now, Kegan specifically has ties to a few of these locations, Kokomo and Royal Center, but all of these are somewhat close. But you got to understand, we need the answers for this, right? Because it's either it's all of you or it's you and someone else. Kegan responds, right. But I don't know who it is, but I'm telling you, I did not any children at all. That could be a lie. Remember, anything that's embarrassing to these psychos, they like to leave that part out. Why would I video chat with someone if you know what I mean? I'm obviously not that person. That was proven to be a lie. We found out a witness stated that he did video chat with her with some people in the background. Says what I'm trying, investigators ask Kegan Klein, what I'm trying to wrap my head around. I mean, you made the Emily Ann account, right? Then he has a niece whose name is Emily Ann, which is disgusting. He says, right. You talk to the girls with it, right? So some of these have to be you, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I definitely talked to girls on there. Yeah, I'm not denying that at all. So why not just admit to all of it? What difference does it make? He doesn't want to talk about the little kids. Apparently, they found videos and things like that involving very young children. But law enforcement's trying to tell him, hey, we believe other people are using that account. Lola says Keegan said his dad told Libby in a snap to meet on the south end of the bridge around 2 if they wanted to meet Anthony Shots. Those were Keegan's words to me, not my words. Lene says the defense is doing exactly what defense does, bring doubt about Richard Allen. The sheep will follow. I agree with that. Welcome in, Roy. Good to see you, Phil. Oh, I read that today, Daisy. I knew something was coming with that case. That had cover up written all over it. Hey, the Saint, how are you? Is somebody else talking about Dan Doolin? I haven't even seen anything. This is just totally something that I was struggling with this morning. I didn't even plan to go live. Didn't Carter or Riley say we would be shocked to learn who was involved with the murders? I mean, I was shocked about Richard Allen. Hey, Cheeks, she was talking to Max about the person in December, and she told Max, never mind, that she will handle it. Yeah, that kind of gave birth to the junior detectives theory. And we did a few videos on that if you guys want to go watch it. R. Elizabeth Castillo. What's up? This was premeditated. It was not that cold. It was not that cold, and he had multiple layers and bulging stuff, which God knows what he was concealing under those layers of clothing. Molly, I think it's Cass County. Well, you need to come to the United States of America. We'll take care of you. Hey, Budward. I have one somewhere. All right, let's do a couple more. What's up, Vegas? You think maybe Anthony Shots could have been Richard Allen saying he was supposed to meet up with them instead of KK trying to get some early information about what he did? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Nope, Shane. I think Emily Ann goes hand in hand with Anthony Shots. He uses Emily Ann to build a rapport and to bring their guards down. And then from there, he sends them to a secondary. Like, oh, now that we're best friends. And a lot of times as Emily Ann, he'll act as if he's a lesbian, which would explain why he's asking for dirty photographs and things like that. Because I am a nice girl, but I'm into girls. So he's very diabolical. Diabolical deviant. Hey, good to see you, Cindy. Let's go to Cindy here. Kegan had phones that didn't get turned in or were wiped clean, right? Yep. He had his personal phone. I think I have a little video on that. I'm not sure if it's relevant, but I think we can watch it really quickly if you want to. It may be relevant. Let's find out. But it is specifically on his iPhone 5C.
According to Keegan Klein's probable cause affidavit for arrest, filed August 19th, 2020, during his interview, Keegan stated he was fucked and should have left. Kegan advised he packed another bag and took it to Las Vegas. Tony and Kegan returned from Las Vegas on February 25th, 2017. He stated he was going to leave when his dad was asleep. Why would Kegan pack another bag, and why would he be fucked as he put it? Why would he spend all this time looking up the Delphi murders while in Las Vegas, packing extra bags and anticipating an arrest if he wasn't involved in some way? Kegan told investigators the main phone he uses is the white iPhone 5C. On February 27th, 2017, just 2 days after Tony Kline's home was raided, Kegan contacted the ISP Cybercrimes Unit and told them he located the Apple iPhone 5C and wasn't taken during the warrant. According to Keegan Klein's interview transcript, the only device to have info wiped from it was his personal iPhone 5C. His search history was deleted from February 10th to the 15th. Investigators told Kline, and I quote, "During the time frame where this grooming would have been built up to meeting is gone." Kegan made no effort to hide the CSAM on his other devices, but he did go out of his way to hide whatever he was doing from the 10th to the 15th, which was most likely, in my opinion, him luring the girls to their very death.
So there you have it. So lost tip versus Keegan Klein. And how did they find the lost tip? You couldn't find it before. What were you doing now where you miraculously uncovered this lost tip narrative? What changed? And why the coincidental Wabash River search and Keegan Klein going into custody and then the arrest of Richard Allen shortly after? You're telling me you just on a hunch, you're searching the Wabash River? On a hunch, you're looking at every single piece of information from the beginning of the case? You had no assistance? You're telling me that Dan Doolin, a seasoned professional investigator, did not come forward and say, hey, regardless of a lost tip, I spoke to this man, Richard Allen. You guys have not served a search warrant on him. Doesn't make any sense. That's horrible. Nobody's going to answer the door. KK deleted 210 to 215, but Libby was wiped prior to 210. Well, her phone was reset 10 days prior to the crime, according to Becky, Patty, and Tara. All right, guys. In about 4 hours, we will be going live on the Shantae Blankenship case. This case is kind of going to go focus mainly in on psychopathy, but we will be doing a deep dive on this case, and hopefully I'll see you guys there. What's up, Boston Christian? All righty. If you guys are part of the replay crew, you know what to do. Leave me a comment and we'll get back to you. If you guys have any questions for me specifically or directly, shoot me an email at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. If you're a new member of my channel and would like to join the members only Discord, shoot me an email. and I will give you instructions on how to join. I want to give a special thanks to Carrie for the super sticker. Alex from England, shout out to England. Remember, the Sleuth Crew, we're everywhere. And according to Lene, thank you guys for supporting my channel and sponsoring today's live stream. And hopefully I'll see you in about 4 hours to discuss the tragic murder of Shantae Blankenship. Thank you, Molly. And shout out to all of you who support the channel. And I'll see you again real soon. Take care. Have a great day.